All right, welcome back to the 86. Hope y'all are having a great day. I hope you're enjoying the content. We're certainly enjoying making it for y'all. Last week we got the cab swapped out, and I must say it's a vast improvement over what we had. But as good a condition as this cab is in, there's still quite a bit of metal work to do. So like we talked about in the last episode, we got to change the transmission tunnel out to make more room in there. This is a two-wheel drive cab, so we're going to get that done. We also need to weld up a bunch of these holes here. We're going with vintage air, and we want to kind of slick the firewall off since a lot of those holes are not necessary anymore. And we got to put cab lights on this cab and the dash. Like we looked at last week, the hole for the radio's cut, and then they cut another big old hole for a double din radio in the dash where the ashtray went. So quite a bit of metal work to do, and that's what we're going to get started with now. So for the trans tunnel, we're going to try this. We've seen some people using this online. This is the doghouse for a 70s four-wheel drive cab. This is like what the 77 has in it. And they bolted in back then, where the late model 80s, I think 83, 84 was the last ones that bolted in, something like that. But they, you know, like the white cab that we took off, it was solid, it wasn't bolted in. And we don't really see any reason why you'd take this off. Once the interior's in here, you'd have to strip it down to get this off. So we may just cut this lip off with the holes and just weld it in. That's kind of the plan for now. But it'll sit right there, and it fits pretty good. You know, this lip isn't laying down flat, but we can just rip that off anyway. We may rip it inside of this bead so we can get a smooth finish. You know, because originally it wouldn't have this bead rolled around it. We may just cut it off all the way around. We'll set it down in here, mark it, cut the tunnel out, and weld it in. It looks like it's going to be pretty straightforward. But you know how that goes.
Yeah, it looks easy enough, but
yeah,
there's always complications.
Yep.
But either way, make it work.
And this is the patch panel for the back of the tunnel. Now, I don't think we're going to use all of it, because this doesn't fit all that great. We may just cut it around here, wherever it kind of touches best. Of course, it'll go underneath that doghouse, but we'll see what we need, what's going to be the easiest. I mean, this is as much cosmetic as anything. This is just going to make it look more factory. But it's also going to help to fill in this gap. Something has to go here no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we could just take a piece of thin metal and roll it around here flat, but I think this is going to be probably easier in the long run, and it's going to look, it'll look factory once it's welded in there, hopefully.
Yeah, I definitely think that's going to help it look more original.
Mm-hmm. So that's the plan. We'll start cutting and marking and do some welding on this stuff.
Yep, start hacking away at everything. So the plan is we're going to take this section, this rolled section off, and just cut it basically like along here. That's going to make it easy for us to weld it in. Also, it's going to make it a lot easier, take some of the rigidity out of it, make it easier to manipulate, get everything to fit upright, make it look clean. So that's what we're going to start with, and we can set it in there and see what we need to do from there.
Give it a quick clean up. All right. Go see how that looks. Looks like it's pretty good. Looks like it needs to go about right there.
Yeah, doesn't look too bad.
I don't know that it's going to look factory. So we got a ridge here that I don't think would have been there, and then we'll have another one here where we weld it, but I think it's going to be fine. Yeah, for starters, maybe we'll just barely cut this thing off. We'll just fade that out like that, maybe. Do something similar here. Cut right down on that corner. Just get it where it's flat. See how it sits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we can definitely take more off if we need to.
Yeah, I mean, it may create, we may already have big gaps. We may have to do something else, but we'll see. I mean, using all this is going to be the most amount of welding, but it's also going to look the most factory. So we'll leave it for now. Alright. Let's see if we screwed up. Yeah, we got quite a bit of wiggle room now.
Mm-hmm. Still got some pretty big old gaps.
Yeah. Which is changing the angle too when it opens up.
Yeah.
So we probably ought to not squish on it, but instead trim it. Like, you know, it's obviously hitting
Yeah,
here.
hitting in that corner. Yeah.
So we probably ought to come up like this. We're going to want to sneak up on it though.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's going to be like that in the end, but I don't know if we want to start there. So it's quite a bit. All right. So the original floor here kind of had a hump in this area that was actually interfering with our new piece. So we had to go ahead and get rid of that so this thing can sit down like it's supposed to, so we can continue fitting it.
Went from having a perfectly good automatic trans tunnel to big gaping hole.
Yep. Probably a lot of people cussing right now.
Yeah.
Cutting out a perfectly good floor.
Mm-hmm. But gotta do what you gotta do.
Yep. So I think now we can tack in the front section. And I think we're going to try to hammer these ears up to fill in that gap we had where we cut the square out. Because this is a lot more round than the patch panel. So we'll just hammer on this and try to get it stood up. And then we'll refit the back and trim what we don't need off of here before we tack it down. But the front should be good to go. Fit good, we got a good mark, so we ought to be able to set it right down on there and start tacking it.
Yep.
All right. I think she's ready to go. Just hammering this little radius up to try to take up that gap we had. See what that does. All right, round 112. What about right here? Can you push right here? All right. I think that'll do it. So these little radiuses turned out really good.
Yeah.
I don't think you could ask for any better than that. You can see my screw up right there, or bub. We'll have to put that piece back in. It's pretty bad, but what are you gonna do? Fix that, but everything else got a really good fit. Got a little bit of a gap up here at the front of this, but there's a little bit along here, nothing crazy. That's a pretty decent gap. I'll put some copper behind that, fill that in. This right here, we probably won't mess with until we get the four-wheel drive shifter in, just to make sure that even needs to be fixed. This is just the way it was made. You know, this one had a piece that kind of matched it, but we cut all that off. So we'll see. If that needs to be fixed, we'll fix it, but it may not. We don't know where the four-wheel drive shifter is going to land exactly. So now it's just a whole bunch of welding. All right, she's all welded out. Welded up pretty good. I've got this little patch made up here.
Yeah, pain in the anus.
Gaps all filled in. He's gonna go to work with the band file, clean it up a little bit.
Yep.
You about done yet?
Finally.
It's good. I was afraid square bodies were gonna go out of style before you got wrapped up in here. All right, well, he finally got it all cleaned up. We didn't take it all the way down. We're not gonna body work it. We didn't see the point in putting any thin spots in it where it might crack just for a floor that's gonna be covered up anyway. But we knocked all the knots off of it. It looks pretty good. Ain't nothing sticking up that you'll feel through carpet. So I think it came out pretty nice.
Yep. Glad to have that done.
Show you all the underside. Dressed it up a little bit too. Knocked the knots off down here. Came out pretty good. Got all kinds of extra room. So should be set to go.
Yep.
Got a little of this gray paint left over. Squirt a little of this on there to keep it from rusting, at least until it gets sandblasted.
Yeah, Hitachi gray.
Mm-hmm. Shoot. Can't even tell we were here now.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, looking good. One step closer.
Yep. Yep. Now next week we can tackle the firewall, going with the vintage air system. So most of these holes we don't need. Well, actually all of them are in the wrong place. So we're gonna go ahead and clean this up, cut pretty much this whole section out, put a new panel in there, and then we can go with the holes that we need for the vintage air. So that'll be next week. Took quite a while to get that tunnel done, but glad it's done. Big piece of the puzzle. And move on to mocking up engine transmission. So I think that's going to do it for this week, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, we'd appreciate if you'd subscribe to the channel. And if you do that, go on into the comments and type subscribe. That'll get you entered into our monthly giveaways. And this month we're giving away a 20-volt Dewalt cordless drill with a charger and battery. There will be a link in the description so you can check that out. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. We appreciate y'all watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.